Mr. Speaker, I can say that the requirement is tabulated, so it may require further examination. And I just want to assure the House that either now or later, I or my PS, Dr. Singoi, would be happy to offer any written clarification beyond this.
Yes, Senator Eden Sifuna, you may ask 2 supplementary questions.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, before I even go to the supplementary questions, I'm wholly disappointed by the quality of the response. I thought that the full title of the CS for Foreign Affairs also puts him in charge of coordination of other ministries. Surely, if there are issues that are in ministries other than the Foreign Affairs, I know we should direct it to the ministry itself, but being the person in charge of coordination of all the other ministries, I expected a more solid response, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, for instance, the response indicates that there is an ambassador and 1 in-post. That essentially means there's an ambassador deployed in Washington, D.C. I would want to know when the ambassador reported, because when I was there, the embassy was manned by a chargé d'affaires. There was no ambassador. I don't know when he reported. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, you will see the tabulation here. There is only 1 trade attaché for a country that is as important as the U.S., and I would have expected a discussion on the adequacy. When I was there, I was given an example, Honorable Speaker. A country like Vietnam has 4 agricultural attachés, indicating the seriousness with which they take their job. I would have expected a discussion about the adequacy of the staff that have been deployed. If you are telling us, Honorable Speaker, that you have 1 staff in the consulate in New York, what happens when that person falls sick? That is why there are all sorts of problems in these consulates, because you cannot have 1 person manning a station. It just doesn't make any sense. So that is the sort of discussion that I had expected, and I have to express my disappointment in the answer so that the Cabinet Secretary understands what I wanted to get from him. But in terms of follow-up questions, Honorable Speaker, first of all, the women in the U.S., Honorable CS, asked me to ask you specifically why it is that since 1963, with the first Kenyan ambassador, Burudi Nabwera, up to today, you have never seconded a woman as the ambassador of Kenya to the U.S. That is a question that the ladies asked me to put to the CS, and I would be remiss if I did not put to it. Maybe there is a thinking within government as to the capacity of women to be deployed in serious postings, such as Washington, D.C. Honorable Speaker, secondly, the problem with the delays in the processing of IDs, as the CS himself has alluded to, is that it's a manual process. People have to travel from all across the U.S., a country that is far more vast than, say, the EU. And if the CS would compare the deployment of diplomatic staff in the entire European Union, which is smaller in size than the American continent, Honorable Speaker, these people have to travel from all these far distances, 5-hour flights, 6-hour flights. Then you come to the embassy and you have to do this manual process as if you are at a DC's office in Kerugoya, Honorable Speaker. And then they are put in a diplomatic bag, they are sent here. There is no special office for processing of diaspora applications for IDs. They are just lumped together with other applications from, say, Kilifi, Bungoma, and Nairobi. And yet there is an office that was created, I think it is a department, on diaspora affairs. Can the CS shed light on the responsibilities of this office and what these people do in the diaspora office, if not just concentrate on these applications, and what they are doing to automate the process of processing of identification cards? Because, Honorable Speaker, the feedback was that because we have automated the application process and the processing of passports are faster than IDs that are still manual. So what is the plan, Honorable CS, for you to address these challenges to ensure that people get these documents, critical documents, in good time? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Prime Cabinet Secretary, you may proceed to respond, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There are quite a number of issues that are valid in the concerns that the Senator does raise. The first thing that I need to point out is that there's no discrimination against women in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And in fact, as we speak today, I can give you an example that in the UK, the High Commissioner is a lady. I would also want to point out that the ambassador for Kenya in Washington reported 2 weeks ago. So he's in station. And this comes, there's a cycle. Ambassadors and officers in missions have a cycle, a tour of duty of about 4 years. And in the process, the issue of their term expiring, it is staggered, it's not all at the same time. So this would have been a situation where you are visiting when the outgoing was also just preparing to come back or had just left. And that is Ambassador Amayo. So sometimes you are caught up in these cycles between transition. And I would say that that is the reason why maybe you did not meet the ambassador, but there's an ambassador as we speak today. I have indicated that the consular services through the Diaspora Affairs did yield about 2,500 IDs in different towns, and therefore we'll continue in the efforts to make sure that we reach out. Automation and technology are things we are pursuing within the context of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in linkage, in liaison even with the immigration, so that we can improve the services. So there are these delays that we hope to navigate through going forward. Finally, Mr. Speaker, it would be a big omission if I did not inform the Senate that one of the challenges that we have faced and we continue to face is actually the resource allocation. And I'll give a very clear example that, for instance, when we lost the finance bill, we have seriously had to do a serious haircut in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, just like other ministries. But when you look at it in the context of the resources that would have been available to make sure that we are seamless in our operations, as of now, let me admit that we are constrained financially, and it is a challenge that is facing the entire country. So we hope that within the context of the next financial year, as we progress, we can improve on the funding of our missions.
Senator Mungatana.